Hello, Brian. Congratulations on the show you do, and best of luck with everything that comes along. Continue to follow your dreams. That's awesome. I'm going to make an announcement straight out of Rampage just for your show. Here we go. I'm going to get into announcer mode and welcome you to the WSE Lounge. So here we go. Hi, I'm Justin Roberts, and I want to welcome you to the WSE Lounge hosted by Brian Vaughn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WSE Lounge. I am your host, Brian Vaughn. Right now, I want to welcome the show. They don't make them like this anymore. Also, a future legend. And also, NWA JCW wrestler, the one and only Kerry Morton.
Well, man, Brian, what an introduction. I appreciate it. I liked Justin Roberts there doing the WSE announcement. That's my first time seeing that. My first time being on the show and being a part of your program. So I appreciate you having me, my friend. I think we're gonna have a good conversation today.
Thank you very much, sir. And speaking of Justin Roberts, I know that he was an announcer at Gigolo Mania.
That's right, at Stranglemania at
Stranglemania, yeah.
Okay, hey, listen, I like Gigolo Mania too. Sure, we were. He was the announcement. He didn't announce my match, so I don't believe it. But I'm a big fan of Justin Roberts, and I think he's a wonderful announcement, and he makes any show bigger than what it already is.
Yeah, I remember seeing the old clip of him at Nitro. He was in the audience hollering everything, and Sean Walton was out there hollering.
Oh boy, how cool is that?
Yeah.
We like that.
I know you grew up in the business with your dad, Ricky Morton, and I want to know what made you decide to become a wrestler.
You know, Brian, I think you said it there first. I grew up in the wrestling business. You know, after I'm 25 years old, and I say this genuinely, is my whole life I've been in the wrestling arena. It's all I ever known. Is traveling up and down the road with my dad, in the back seat of his usual old Oldsmobile, a DVD player, watching wrestling, watching anything that had a DVD version. I was watching it in the back seat. I grew up around the wrestlers and the camaraderie of professional wrestling in the locker room. So I grew up with all these guys, and when the time was appropriate, and I had to go through a few challenges to step inside the wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
But I played all the assets. I was a referee. I was an announcer. I was the one that set up all the chairs. I was the one that took the money from the fans when they bought a ticket at the beginning of the show. I did concessions. Probably everything that you can think of in that realm of professional wrestling, I was there and I did it. So when the time was appropriate, and I went to my dad and said, "Hey, I want to wrestle full time." I had to go through a few obstacles to say the least, but he was all support, and that's all one can ask for, especially as a son that goes to his father, which is my hero and one I look up to. And when he gave me full support, I jumped head first and went all out.
Awesome. I've done a lot of interviews, and something your dad said really, really stuck with me. And I want to ask you this question too, because he told me, he said, Brian, I'm going to tell you something. He said, these younger guys growing up, these young guys getting into the business stuff, wrestling, they don't take advice from the veterans that come for them. They just take it, just throw it aside, whatever. They don't know advice on the veterans. If it wasn't for the veterans like Koloff and Ricky Martin, Robert Gibson, the late Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, you wouldn't have no wrestling. You know what I mean?
Brian,
what are your thoughts on that?
That's a good point you make there too, and I have to say, to each their own. In professional wrestling, I'm very thankful, and quite frankly, I'm blessed to say that my dad has put lots of great instructors in my role, in my path. I got to learn from my dad all the time and ask him so many questions. Along with Robert Gibson, his tag team partner, I spent a lot of time with beautiful Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey and Dr. Tom Pritchard, and I can go on to name more and more. Ivan Koloff, And these little pieces of advice that they gave me throughout the years led to where I am now. And, you know, and who's to say, you know, who am I now? But, you know, hopefully I can look back at this interview a few years from now and say, oh, I was maybe something then, but now I'm hopefully here, God willing. But,
yeah,
you know, with that is some people, it's hard. It's hard to understand because a lot of these nowadays wrestlers, and I'm speaking for myself, we want to do, we want to make our name known. And sometimes we think we can do it our way instead of the other way. And I'm speaking for myself here too, is it's tough when these guys are wanting to look out for your best interests and all you think is it's some old man just looking down upon me and not thinking I'm good enough. And, you know, in this business, especially is what I've learned and what you have to learn quickly is you got to have thick skin. You got to be able to take some criticism and get up from it. And it's on you to see how you bounce back from that criticism, whether it be good advice or maybe bad advice or advice that you're not willing to accept. But that's what, you know, I would like to think a lot of these wrestlers and especially these veterans in professional wrestling that go out of their way to tell you advice are looking out for your best interest. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you to take those words of encouragement or disencouragement and make the most out of that going forward. You know, tomorrow is always a brand new day, and you got to pick up the pieces and continue on.
That's good advice. And also, I was gonna tell you, you know, it's very interesting. You know, all your trainers, Tom Pritchard, the late beautiful Bob Eaton,
Yeah,
your dad Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson. I have interviewed all those guys except for Robert Gibson.
oh man.
And you know, Bobby Eaton, I love Bobby Eaton to death, you know, and I tell this story a lot. I'll tell it to you because I know you're close to Bob Eaton as well. But, you know, Brian Thompson, that was his agent at the time, the icon, Brian Thompson. He called one time and I called him on the phone and, you know, Bobby was staying with him. And I wanted him to do a WSE Lounge cameo thing, you know, just talking and everything. And he says, WSB, WST, WOC, you know, all kinds of stuff. He did it 15 times. And, you know, one thing about Bobby differently than other wrestlers or other people, you know, Bobby didn't get mad, didn't get upset. He was calm and gentle. And then finally he got on 15th time and he said, there you go. I said, thank you, you know. But he was real polite and real generous, you know.
Yeah,
Real
man.
nice guy.
That's a great point. You know, Brian, I wish Bobby was here today. And, you know, when I say that, I spent a lot of time with Bobby. I mean, days on end. He used to live with us. And I would like to think when people maybe look at me, they can maybe see a little side of Bobby as patience. And because God knows he had a lot of patience when it came to me as a little boy running around the house and asking him to play action figures with me and grabbing him to watch me play GameCube and the whole 9 yards. You know, Bobby spent a lot of time with us, but I hope any person that, you know, maybe looks at me at some time say, hey, you know, I can see a little Bobby Eaton inside Kerry there. And, you know, not every day is a good day, but we always try to make the most out of it. And that's what Bobby always kind of uttered to me is make the most out of your situation and do everything to your best. And I sure do miss Bobby and what a great influence he is on my career in professional wrestling. And I hope to other wrestlers that may listen to this or fans out there that listen to this can you know, maybe utter some of the words of professional wrestlers about Bobby Eaton as well.
And you know, something else I was thinking about. You're the third generational wrestler that I've interviewed on the show.
Oh, sweet!
The first one was Timothy Zabisco, Larry Zabisco's son, and then it was Brian Pillman Jr. Now known as Lexus King, and now you.
Well, that's awesome, man. That is great to hear. I'm proud to be a third generation wrestler from my grandfather Paul Morton to my father Ricky Morton to now myself. I am got some big shoes to fill, so it's awesome though. I'm proud to carry the Morton lineage on in professional wrestling. And you know, I have some cousins as well that wrestle in the business in near Nashville, and some other family members throughout Tennessee and whatnot that wrestle. So we're proud to carry on the lineage of the Morton name.
What about that one guy? He wrestled. He kind of favored your dad.
Okay.
He wrestled for WSE Saturday night all the time. I think his name was Todd Martin.
Todd Morton.
Yeah. Was he?
Todd Morton.
He related to y'all?
So Todd is my dad maybe would relate to Todd a lot, but Todd is not a blood Morton.
Okay, yeah.
Certainly a honorary Morton, that's for sure. So Todd,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Todd in many years, but I always hear funny stories about him, and probably I can't mention on the air here.
Yeah.
We'll get taken down. But hear great things, I hear funny things.
Yeah.
About Todd, and so yeah, honorary Morton. That's what Todd is.
Okay, now I wanna ask you now. 6 months ago, at ASW Bash at Beckles,
Yeah.
you wrestled against Brock Anderson, and y'all had your respective dads. You had Arn Anderson. I mean, he had Arn Anderson. You had Ricky Morton.
Sure.
And I watched that match. Great matchup. And I saw you get the win, and it was great. And how was it for you going out there and representing your family legacy, and then fighting against another family legacy that you knew grew up with the Andersons and Martins against each other back in the day? So how was that?
That's an awesome question you asked that, Brian. I kind of remember had a lot of matches since then, but if memory serves me right, that was a really fun night. We were in Beckley, West Virginia, bashing Beckley, Gary Dameron's promotion, and Stephen Pinu. If you got a sue, call Stephen Pinu. Quick shout out there. But, that was a fun night. And, it's the story that in professional wrestling, the Andersons versus the Mortons, all the way back from the Rock and Roll Express versus the Horsemen. It's really neat to be able to share this experience with Brock, but not only that, with our fathers. Arn Anderson being outside the ring for Brock and Ricky being outside the ring for myself. A really cool night. When that match was kind of coming together, I got there late to the show due to traffic. It was kind of late. I think maybe the show was beginning shortly, however that time frame may work. And didn't have much conversation with, hey, how's it going and whatnot, and kind of breaking the third wall here in wrestling, but didn't have much conversation. But we were both on the same page. I went up to him and said, hey man, let's bring back wrestling that West Virginia hasn't seen in quite a moment, and that's Southern professional wrestling, hard hitting, old school grappling, that niche in wrestling that might have, some would say, has gone missing, in which I try to pride myself in, is bringing that old school feel of traditional professional wrestling back. So we were both on the same page, and Brock is talented in his own rights, the way he carries himself and the way he's a lineage to his father. And, my father being outside the ring there, we both realize, and this is something that those that listen to this, I hope you understand, that we're not our fathers. We are our own separate entity. Yes, we carry on the last name. Yes, we have some similarities. But at the end of the day, I'm Kerry Morton, and that's Brock Anderson. And we are representing our families, but we're going out there to win. We're going out there to entertain the fans and give the fans their money's worth, Brian. And, with that being said, we were both on the right page. We both went out there, hard-hitting matchup. I took a spine buster that hurts me right to this day still, 6 or 7 months later. What a hell of a spine buster he gave me. But, we went up there and we fought our hearts out. We left everything in the ring that we possibly could. We gave the fans their money's worth. And that's all you can ask. I would hope, as a wrestling fan, which I am, if I buy a ticket to go watch a wrestling show, I hope all the wrestlers out there realize that they're not half-assing stuff, and they're giving the fans their money's worth. And that's something I pride myself in, and I think we did that night. And I hope those that watched the match enjoyed it. And feel free to leave your opinions, because opinions are like your ass. Everybody's got one.
Yeah. Like Tarsh Varner says, you got to put butts in the seats, You
got to put butts in the seats. And God willing, that show was a great attendance. I think there was 1,000+ people out throughout that arena. Wow. So we put the butts in the seats, and I think it still goes to show, with some good promoting and some good talent on the card, and some good matchups, fans are willing to come out and spend some money and enjoy their Saturday night watching wrestling.
Well, I think it was a tremendous matchup that I watched, and something I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned you're talking about, Brock is Brock Anderson, you're Kerry Morton. So, what is your opinion of Brian Pillman Jr. changing his name to Lexus King with WWE?
You
You
know,
think how they dropped the family heritage or what?
no, Brian, I don't think it dropped the family
Uh-huh.
heritage. It's the evolution of wrestling. Is You see all these wrestlers that have continued to always evolve, whether it be their persona or the way they carry themselves or the wrestling gear or the way they market themselves online, or it's a tale as old as time, is evolution. And I think it's something that was a good step for Brian. Brian realized that, just myself is, who wouldn't want to wrestle for the WWE umbrella someday? And,
Mhm.
Brian saw the opportunity and took it. And with that comes change. And change was being, titled as Lexus King. And I think Brian has taken that role and he's trying to make the most out of it. And at the end of the day, you can only do so much with that until the other people are in charge. And so, I'm proud of Brian. I'm proud to be a
Yeah,
friend. I talk to him
yeah,
often.
great job.
Yeah, we chat with ourselves, and everyone's gonna have an opinion, and which I stated earlier. But
Yeah,
you're trying to make the most out of it, and you gotta with that, creativity is at its finest. Of what is this person going to act like, or how is this person going to
yeah,
carry themselves? And Brian is, I think right now he's the speed champion for the WWE, and I'm not familiar with that championship all so much, but I saw a picture on his Instagram. So congratulations to winning the belt, Brian, and or Blexus, I should say. And I wish him a lot of success in the future. Maybe here in the next couple of years, we'll
yeah.
lock horns again and see where that goes.
And that's not my opinion. I just asked you a question.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, I think it's great. I
yeah,
genuinely, I think it's
but
great, and I would hope if I, get that direction to go that way or whatnot, or I'm currently employed by the
yeah,
National Alliance, and I just signed a new contract at the beginning of 2026. So I'm here at the
mhm.
NBA for a couple of years, but I would hope if evolution, if how should I say, if evolution allows itself and everything goes maybe to plan, give or take, I would keep my name and still carry on the Kerry Morton legacy or the Morton legacy. But if that's not the case, then it's what's best for
Yeah.
business.
So are you currently with? Because I see you on JCW,
Yeah,
and I don't really watch the NWA product that much. Not that I'm guessing NWA product, I'm not. I just don't watch that much because I forget to watch and everything.
sure.
But so are you with JCW NWA?
So I'm contractually employed by the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA,
Uh,
in which we have a great partnership with Juggalo Championship Wrestling, JCW Lunacy.
uh,
I am one of a few wrestlers that get to wrestle for both platforms, and which
yeah,
is awesome. I have a cool boss in WPC, William Patrick Corgan, which is Billy Corgan, the front man of the Smashing Pumpkins and the owner of the National Wrestling Alliance, and Pat Kinney, which is talent relations. They work really well with me and allow me to go work for Violent J and Vince Russo of Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And so I'm on both platforms. I get to make the most out of the opportunities, and more screen time means eventually more eyes on you. So I think the NWA realizes
great.
that, and JCW realizes that, and so it's a good partnership. And I hope we continue to extend that and carry on at both places.
Yeah, back in March, I had Vince Russo on there.
Oh, killer,
Yeah,
killer!
sure
Oh,
did. Yeah,
Russo, that
yeah,
carny bastard, huh?
yeah. Yeah, I see you on JCW getting arguing. Now, let me ask this. I know that is it what's it called Triple Mania?
Stranglemania.
Stranglemania. I
Yeah.
know Stranglemania. You fought Mickey Knuckles.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness! And I saw the match on YouTube because somebody had put on YouTube the whole Stranglemania event. So, but something that kind of piqued my curiosity is if you would fight Mickey Knuckles, do you think you would ever fight Tessa Fletcher?
Oh man. That's a tough question there. I when Mickey Knuckles, when the match presented itself that Vince Russo
Uh,
be wrestling Mickey Knuckles, I You know, it's kind of one of those battles you got to take what's come. Mickey knows what she's signing herself up for. I know what I'm signing myself up for. And Mickey, to just speak on her, is one tough son of a gun. I mean,
Yeah.
in good terms, she is tough as nails. Maybe I'd go on to say that she's more tough than me. but I will admit this, that she brought it, a Stringomania, as she always does in every match. I'm proud to wrestle her in that circumstance. And at the end of the day, I'm Kerry Morton, a persona. I hear you get a little bit more up close and personal with me, but Kerry Morton you see on JCW, maybe not the friendliest guy. He's maybe not the most liked. Maybe some would say that they despise that Kerry Morton, and I can respect that. So that's the role that I play. And Mickey Knuckles is one hard hitting, tough son of a gun, and so I got to give her credit where credit's due. And who knows? I would love to wrestle Tessa. Tessa is a great competitor. She's very strong over there at TNA right now, and she's doing great things. So, yeah, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll go whoop Tessa Blanchard's ass. Sure. No, I don't mind. I'll whoop her ass, yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, you got Tessa Blanchard, Tessa Blanchard's daughter.
Woo!
You already fought Arn Anderson's son, Brock Anderson,
I'll fight them all at this point. I'll wrestle them all, Brian.
Go whip Charlotte.
Well, you know what? Okay. Now I'll have the whole horseman down there. That'd be a great thing. It'd be funny. It'd be funny too. Maybe those that are listening to it, promoter out there, will book the match in the near future. I won't say no to it. I'll have in there and whoop Tessa Blanchard's ass and show what's up.
So let's see. Okay, let me ask this.
Sure.
I saw a clip of you on another show. So, what's the issue with MJF? I know you got some.
Oh my goodness, I think there was something taken out of context.
Yeah.
They asked me, they said something online that he had said or something like that, and I was like, I don't care. I'll whoop his ass. Sure. What is he? 5'4" maybe on a good day? He's a short little bastard.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of MJF. Here's the thing. And I shouldn't even be putting it over to that extent. He's a good guy. And, whatever that may be. And, he thinks he's tough until he gets in the ring with someone that's going to legitimately whoop his ass and not give a shit. And that's Kerry Morton. I don't care about him. I don't care about what he does. I'm proud of him, sure. Maybe I'll say that I'm happy for his success, whatever that may be. But, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm Kerry Morton. I know what I'm capable of doing. I have an amateur wrestling background in which I had lots of success with. I wrestled for years on end. And if he wants to get his ass whooped, then I will show up in his platform or my platform, and I'll whoop his ass. That's how this is going to be done. I'll whoop his ass, and I won't think twice about it. And if he has something smart to say, well, I wish he would say it to my face. Don't say it behind Twitter handles. Don't say it behind social media. If you have something smart to say it to my face, because you don't got the balls to.
All you have to do is get a cross-promotional situation.
Hey, you have this awesome. We'll make it a reality.
Hey, about 3 weeks ago, Vince Russo interviewed Tony Khan.
Okay. How did that go?
Him and Jonathan Coachman. It went pretty good. He said he extended the olive branch to Tony Khan. He said, I would love to have Britt Baker on JCW. And Tony Khan didn't really say either way,
Okay, well, who's to say what the future may hold with JCW and that? That'd be cool. That'd be really neat, and hopefully, they can work something out, and I'll go beat all the AEW jabronis. I don't care. Sure.
You can invite Darby out for the world title.
Yeah, you know what? Darby Allin will be a great man to pin so his back will look great on the mat for the count of 3. So by all means, raise my hand up high. That's right.
Let's see. Okay, so do you think they should have the indie show to where on the indie show they have a match where it's a battle royal?
Okay.
Of all the generational wrestlers, except for the ones that are in WWE or wherever you can't get a hold of, like Charlie Dempsey or Brian Pillman Jr.
What I'm saying, though,
do you think they should have one of them and see who the best see who the best generational wrestler is.
That's I never thought that far ahead, and I think that battle royal would cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a cool idea. I think it's something that that would be a first in, I would say, in professional wrestling, of just having a legitimate lineup of generational wrestlers. And I think it could be really fascinating if those that want to step up and participate and be a part of that. I think, to each their own. But Brian, just as much as I know, who's going to get his hand raised high at the end of that day, and you're talking to him. So
The future legend.
hey, I will happily compete with these guys and see what's happening. But yeah, I think it's a cool idea. I think it could get a lot of buzz, and I think a lot of people may show up and attend that. And it'd be really neat to have our fathers and mothers in attendance for those events too, and be a part of something crazy in the world of professional wrestling.
Be something had never been happened in wrestling before,
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, to my knowledge, or I haven't at least competed in one. So that'd be neat. Yeah, real neat situation.
So let me ask this, because I've been wondering about this. I heard a friend of mine, James Wash of the Wrestle Epicenter. He did an interview with her about a month ago. Big Al Crawley, works for JCW.
Yes.
What I want to know is, because I haven't seen her yet on the YouTube channel, but on the JCW, but she rides a unicycle in the ring, I heard.
I'm sorry, Big Al?
She rides a unicycle. Unicycle.
Really? I was unaware of this.
Yeah, she rides a unicycle in the ring.
Oh, Big Al rides a unicycle. Hell, I was unaware. I didn't know this. That's really talented. That takes a talented person to do that, and I know Big Al's full of talent. So neat. I'm sorry, I got me on a pause there because I don't know what to say. But I think it's really cool that she rides a unicycle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I said on the interview. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Well, that is pretty talented. She's one to keep their eyes on, man. I mean, Big Al, she is I think she's everything that she says she is. She is mean, tough as nails, and always ready for a fight. So and I'm glad to be. Occasionally, I see her in the locker room, and I'll give a wave gesture and a hey, what's up, gesture. And that's about it, because I don't want to get my ass whooped in front of all the boys with Big Al. Yeah. So she's a talented cat, and she's someone for those out there that are viewing this to keep their eyes on in the near future.
Okay, now we'll play a clip.
All right.
A video that I made in 2010. You were 9 years old. You came out with your dad and Robert Gibson as they fought the Axis of Evil in MGCW in Stockbridge, Georgia.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to this. How cool. Well, that's cool, man. Look at that. Woo! There I'm running around the ring. Oh, I'm in the ring with them. Oh. Uncle Hoot. How great, man. How great is that? That's awesome. that's the first time for me seeing that. That is
Yeah,
man, like I said, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, like I said, man, I always wanted to be involved in professional wrestling, and my dad and Uncle Hoot would allow me to go to the ring with them, and I had my little wrestling gear made, and I had my custom little gear made on, and I got to travel the ring with them. So that's really that's very heartfelt, man. That brings back good memories.
Like, I'll send that clip to you, folks, to unedited after the show's over with.
Sure, man. By all means, that'd be
Yeah.
great. I'd
And
love
you
to
hear
see
you,
that.
you can hear what your dad said. You know.
Yeah, I'll
Thanks
share
to
it
me.
with the boys. They'd love to see that. That'd be great.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, you were born April the 4th.
Yes, sir.
I was born April 19th.
Okay, so we're both Aries, right?
Yeah.
That's great,
That's
man.
yours.
Both some Aries here, so you know what they say about some Aries, right? We're a little strong-headed. We
Yeah.
we like to fight. So I mean, that's wasn't to each their own on that. Each their own on that one, but some Aries in attendance. That's cool.
Let's see. Okay. When you wrestled Homicide at Hard Times 3 and you won the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, that was an excellent match because I actually talked to your dad the day you were wrestling Homicide. He said Kerry's gonna wrestle Homicide night. I said, what's on? He says it's on I think Fight TV or Through TV. So I bought it, so I could see you on the wrestling. It was a good match.
Well, man, I have so much respect for the Notorious 187. I mean, I just saw him this past weekend in Tampa, Florida. We caught an Uber drive together. So back to the airport, and man, I pick his brain whenever I get the chance. I mean, Homicide, such a talented professional wrestler that a lot of people, I say this, and let me say this, let me utter this. He deserves his flowers, and which he's gotten at times, but the man deserves his flowers. I mean, he is everything that he says he was, and continue is. I mean, what a hell of a talented wrestler, someone that is hard hitting and will make you earn every lick. And so, any of those that watched Hard Times 3, I think if I'm not mistaken, Hard Times 3 in Louisiana, I mean, he beat the living snot out of me, and rightfully so. I took that ass whooping as best as I could, and at the end of that night, my hand was raised, victorious after beating Homicide with his own finishing move, the cutter, and something that was very, 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 strong in a threshold to me, and I cherish that moment forever, sharing the ring with the Notorious 187, and getting that experience to share the ring with them. So, little touch up here thinking about it because Homicide right now is trying. He just recently retired about a year ago, roughly, but I know that itch is back, and we talked about him wanting to step back in the ring, and I feel for him as right now there's some things that he's battling right now that he can't. But he wants to step back in the ring, and I wish he would, and I hope to be his first match back when he does decide or is allowed to and gets the clear to get back in the ring.
Well, I hope he gets better soon.
Yeah, same here, man. He's one of my agents at the National Wrestling Alliance, so I particularly pick him to agent my matches, and Dr. Tom and him. So they're both one of my agents in the matches, and so really cool. And always has a new way of thinking or a new idea that's outside the box. And, it's important to have those people in a locker room that think outside the box. And that's Homicide himself.
And a good friend, I just sent a comment, a good friend of yours, Sabrina, said, Kerry.
Oh, so I said, hey, Sabrina, hope all's well.
And, I was going to let you know something really interesting. Over about, I've been about maybe about 8 or 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had a partnership with NWA.
Oh, really?
But Bruce Thorpe was the president.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Yeah, and I had Bruce Thorpe and Rob Conway, and the late Jax Dane was on the show. interviewed and but yeah, that was about 7 or 8 years ago.
That's great, man. That's a good lineup. Rob Conway he was a great job. I remember him thoroughly as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion when I was a young man, and
Yeah.
he was awesome. And Jack Stane, rest in peace, rest in paradise. A man that I wish I had got to say that I looked up to him, and I'm sure he knew that. But I saw him in the locker room a lot, and he was always just optimistic. He wasn't a Debbie Downer, and he was someone that always looked on the upside. And genuinely, it's hard for a man of that caliber to break a smile on his face. But every once in a blue moon, we'll be in conversation, and he would have a little smile on his face, especially when he talked about his wife and his son. That always brought a joy to him. So God rest his soul. We miss him. We think about him a lot. I know I see a lot of Godzilla shirts that walk around the locker room occasionally, and reminiscence of Jack Stane. And man, what a man, what a family man, and most importantly, what a just a genuine good human being he was.
And another guy you was talking about, family man. And I know your dad and Robert have fought him before, the Briscoes. But Jay Briscoe, I remember before he passed, on Instagram there was a video, you probably seen it, him and his daughter doing the Girl Scouts thing, and he was dancing in front of the TV, and yeah, and a lot of people look at wrestlers, and other people say, well, they're mean as rattlesnakes, real life, because I see them on TV like that. But real life, some of them are the nicest guys, and some of them are really snobby.
And that's who you meet. A lot of us on TV, in this business, and I can maybe extend this, is it's a very it can be tiring in wrestling,
Yeah.
traveling and the nuances we take up of hotel rooms and barely getting rest and getting to the shows early. But here's the thing, Brian, and I hope everyone can understand that, is it's a blessing. Seriously, and it's a joy to be able to live, I'm speaking for myself, to live my dream and be a professional wrestler and make a living off of professional wrestling that's able to, keep these lights on above my head with professional wrestling. And so I will, God willing, and I say this and I knock on wood on my desk in front of me, it's always cool to have someone go out of their way and say, hey, man, I watch you on TV and I appreciate what you do. And if you caught me in a bad mood, just know that something really had to get to me, because, what I get to do is I wake up every day and I pray to the man upstairs, and I'm thankful that I get to be a wrestler and train and do all the luxuries that I get to do in professional wrestling, and the kind people that it brings me, and the fans and the experiences and the camaraderie. And I can go on and on and on and talk about it. But, it's genuinely super cool to be able to do this. So to some of those people that are like, oh, that wrestler's an asshole, well, I'm sorry you feel that. And you might meet me one day and say, man, that Kerry Morton, he's one asshole. But just know that I'm an asshole for a particular reason, I guess, at that said point.
That's what they call Christian Cage in AEW.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And I think, matter of fact, Mr. Kennedy, he used to say that too, didn't he? Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Anderson?
Yeah.
Back in WWE or WWF?
Sure. WWE,
yeah.
To the ring with him recently. He was the Lunacy World Champion just prior.
Yeah, I saw that match, yeah.
Yeah, we wrestled in Miami.
Yeah, he ended up beating you, and then you're like, man,
I won't go to acknowledge that Mr. Kennedy beat me. I think that video, the ending is AI generated. But what I will say is it was cool to share the ring with Kennedy. We had a good time, and we gave the fans, everyone that attended that night, we made sure to give them a match. And that match went like 30 minutes long. I mean, we really went out there and wrestled. It was hot. It was Miami. It was an outdoor venue. There was a roof in it, but it was like an outdoor venue. It was at leleast 95 in that room, and all the fans.
Goodness gracious. Wow.
It was super hot, and everybody stuck with us, though. All the fans that gathered outside the ring, and I don't know if you could tell, but there was a lot of people there that night from what I remember, and they stuck with us the whole time, and they were cheering and showing their energy. So to that, it was a cool time. Cool time to share the ring with Kennedy, in which I had his action figure when I was a little boy, and then I got to whoop his ass, and it was a good time. Good time.
Now let me ask you this question. You brought this up in my head. Okay, so what if a wrestler is a diabetic and they're in the ring in like 95-degree weather, and they're in the ring, and what happens if their sugar drops? What do they do then?
You know, Brian, each wrestler is going to act different, and and you know, I'm trained, and this is why I think you would get the extent of wrestlers and professional wrestlers. Is you have to be professional. You got to act on this situation immediately. I've been in crazy situations where fans have attacked the ring. I've been in situations where wrestlers I've been in the ring with have passed out, got knocked out.
Oh, wow.
Everything. And that certain point, you've got to be a professional, and you've got to learn how to keep cool under pressure and stay cool under pressure, and not allow it to get to you, not know what to do in those situations. You know, if that were to come and that were to happen, I would like to think that I would take care of it and handle it like a professional, and you know, get the attention off of the said person and let someone in attendance and a paramedic help and put the attention on me. And whether it be grabbing the microphone or doing something with the audience or the crowd members or the referee, to take the attention off of that while someone would assist to them. So, you know, that's what you don't learn in wrestling school. And that's what you got to learn with time. And God willing, I hope these trainers that are teaching these wrestlers today are going over these situations. As I teach a class bi-weekly at Net Pro Studios in Kingsport, Tennessee, along with my dad. And situations we talk about is what to do in these particular moments and how to stay cool and make sure your opponent's taken care of. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to attest to that. Someone's health, it's someone's livelihood. It's someone's, you know, that's another person that you're sharing the ring with. And so you got to know how to test to those. And that's something I would like to think I know what I'm doing in that. And God willing, if it happens again, or if it happens to me, I hope someone that I share the ring with know how to attest to that as well.
Okay. So how did the Southern Six form in the NWA?
Oh man. You know, that's a great, that might be the best question you asked all night, is how did the Southern Six, how did the Southern Six form? And that's Silas Mason, Alex Taylor, and myself, Kerry Morton. The Southern Six. It started with the boys. It started with, you know, we're all the boys. There's my best friends, Silas and Alex. And so we were in Australia. We were touring with the NWA. We were on a long tour for about a month. And, you know, with that, we were just being rowdy. We're a bunch of wrestlers. We're a bunch of wrestlers that's full of piss and vinegar and willing to fight and willing to get into a situation. And so I guess the statute of limitations is up. We were at a bar, and Silas had said something to a man had said something to Silas. Silas didn't take a liking to that, and Alex didn't take a liking to that, and myself were all in the situation. And we took some liberties into our own hands and might have got into a crazy, give or take, a fight. trying to keep it light. And we all skedaddled out of there in Australia after the said fight was done, and some people were laid out on the ground because Silas Mason is not a man to mess with, and Alex either, and myself, and we're all kind of jacked up and ready to go. So anyhow, where I'm getting to is how the Southern Six formed is we're all some boys, and we're some Southern boys. We're Tennessee particularly, and we were listening to some music, and somehow the situation came up of Silas was like, man, this is some Southern Six stuff. And we just all looked around, we chuckled around and said, yeah, that is some Southern Six stuff. And somehow it became what we are. And what we are is some badass talent that can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the world and prove why we are the modern day best faction and in modern day professional wrestling.
That's awesome. I would like to see y'all go with the bloodline.
Hey, they don't want this smoke. They don't want this smoke. I'll tell you that much right now. Those boys talk a mean game until they get in the ring with some Southern Tennessee boys. They don't want this smoke. We can assure you that. We're mean. We're mean.
What about the Blackpool Combat Club?
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, we're not opposed to it. We're not opposed. Listen, you name them, you line them up, Brian, and we'll knock them down. I mean, we don't talk to hear ourselves speak. We talk because we mean everything that we say. When we say we're the best modern day professional wrestling tag team, we genuinely mean that. We can step in the ring with every bit and get every bit out of it. And that's the truth. I say that and put my hand on the Bible that's beside me on my stand right here. Is I genuinely believe that we are the best professional wrestling faction, and we can wrestle them all and give everybody their money's worth and put asses in seats and have the number one merchandise selling on NWA because we are what we say we are, and that's the truth.
Okay, and let me ask this. So, what's it like working for JCW?
Juggalo Championship Wrestling, what's it like? Well, Brian, what's it like being the best professional wrestler in the locker room? When I look around, I just see a bunch of clowns. Pun intended. No, it's to speak truthful here and not that persona that you see on JCW. It's awesome. I love JCW. The locker room is great there. The camaraderie is great. Even if I hate to admit it, the fans are great. And that's what makes JCW Lunacy what it is the fans. Without them, we would not be where we are right now, the success that it's gotten here recently. I like Russo, but Russo can't take credit for the success of JCW Lunacy. And I say that on the air. He cannot take success for it. He can take success. He can take a credit for maybe getting some more eyes on JCW Lunacy, but he can't take the credit and the success of what it's become. It is because we all knew, everyone from day one knew that this was something different. This was something that if everyone's willing to put their 100% efforts into it and their hard work and their ideas and collaborate and make this what it is, it's going to be successful. And, that's a credit to Violent J, one half of the Insane Clown Posse, and myself. We started JCW Lunacy up together, Violent J and myself. And it is what it is today. And I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to hopefully give it a little steam that it's at right now. But, I can't speak for myself. It's everybody. It's everybody from the guys in the back, from the ring crew to the psychopathic warehouse to making it to Bill and Rudy and Violent J. I can go on and mention a few more names. Credit all to those guys to making what JCW Lunacy is, because, there's so many moving pieces to make the show a reality. And to Jeff, our videographer, I should mention too. But it's great, man. Brian, it's fantastic. And just as it's what it is, man. We're Lunacy. We're a little wild, we're a little crazy, a little chaotic.
Yeah, folks, I can go on record say that he's right on they've been wild. You got these two guys that out there Walking Dead with James Mitchell, and you got two clowns that come out there doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got Will and Matt doing all kind of crazy moves, and you got Kerry Morton, you got Mr. Anderson, EC3,
Oof.
You got Mr. Happy with Jasmine Sinclair, ECW days.
Oh yeah.
You got all that crazy stuff.
They got a plethora of talent, man. A plethora of talent.
Yeah.
Great talent that are getting their break in professional wrestling right now. One I mentioned is Cocaine, which is the persona.
Yes, yeah, Cocaine.
World champion, current world champion.
Yeah.
Credit to Caleb Conley. I think he's a great asset to JCW facade. Haley J, Danny Moe. I mean, the Outbreak. Barnabas, Nemeth. Yeah, now there's so many good talents that are at the locker room of JCW and makes it what it is today. So we built a really good foundation there, and I think the future just lies and what's next. What's next for us, I can't say, but what I can say right now is we're breaking some records for our show in terms of attendance and people watching. So hopefully there's lots more Lunacy to come in the future.
And one thing I want to say is, JCW, it's like Shane Douglas. I love this thing he said. Shane Douglas said, everybody's not like cruiserweights, everybody's not like heavyweights, and all this other stuff. Everybody has their own flavors. And JCW has all kind of different flavors you can sample. and you can see if you like.
That's right. I think it's a good
You
point.
know.
So many different variety of wrestlers and wrestling and segments and characters and personas, and I can go on in JCW. And I'm glad you took acknowledge that, Brian. We appreciate you watching, and
No
just know
problem.
that I think the future's bright. I think the future is more bright than what it has been, and I think the future has lunacy gold around Kerry Morton's waist.
So, do you think that you and any other generational stars will ever form a faction?
You know what, Brian? I think that's a great question to maybe end this on. And do I think if me and some generational stars to get together and create a faction? Who's to say? But I will say this, and I'll be optimistic, is there's so many talented generational wrestlers, and there's so many, first starters in independent wrestling. So I wouldn't want to maybe put myself into one certain, particular phrase or one particular faction or whatnot. But I would hope to say that if the, if the interest is there and the willingness to both go in all the way, and obviously you got to enjoy each other's company, so that's got to be something too. And if everyone's willing to work together to make the most out of it, then who's to say that we wouldn't do that? I see something's happening right now in NXT with some generational talents, and I wish them all the luck and all success. I love I love that we were able to hopefully break out the shadows of our fathers and mothers in the professional wrestling business and make the most out of giving it. People say, "Oh, you're so and so's son, you're so and so's daughter. You're handed this." And no, Brian, that's not how this business is. At the end of the day, our parents and grandparents may have opened the door a little for us, but it's up to us to keep our foot inside that door and make the most out of the situations. And to that, Brian, I think that's the wrap of how to end this show, because just as much as you know and I know, they just don't make them like this anymore.
That's right. Now, let me ask you 3 other questions. Okay.
Okay, sure. One more. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to ask you real quick, what was your thoughts on Brody Lee Jr.'s debut match? He's only 14 years old.
Man, I was in attendance. I was in attendance in Las Vegas and watching Spring Break, and I thought Brody Lee did a great job, man. Joey Janela, credit to Joey Janela, for having that match.
Yeah.
For his first match in front of an audience as big as that, I think 1,000 plus people were in attendance. He did a wonderful job, and I applaud that young man. I'm glad he got to have that experience. And wrestling Joey, he couldn't have been in there with a better person for his first match. And those guys tore it up. They tore it up, and I didn't see. He looked like he's been in the ring for years on end, and so that's that just says if he keeps his head on right and keeps a good shoulders, keeps a good head on his shoulders. What I'm trying to say, and I know he has a great support system with his mother and his young brother. So I think he's going to be a great asset in professional wrestling in the near future. So I'm looking forward to seeing him evolve and be what he becomes.
So if you had an opportunity, like down the road, to form a next generation Rock and Roll Express, who would you pick as your partner?
Who would I pick as my partner?
Then I'm going to close the question.
All right. I don't know. I like my partner right now. I have a partner named Alex Taylor, Too Hot to Trot. Great wrestler out of Nashville, Tennessee. And maybe if we're going to comparison of the new Rock and Roll Express, maybe Alex Taylor. I want to reach out. We won the Crockett Cup together. We won the United States Tag Team Championship together. And I hope we win more and more belts on from there.
Well, Kerry, now the floor is yours. If you have anything you'd like to promote, anything like that, be my guest.
Well, Brian, I appreciate you for having me on the air today in WSE. For those that are listening that want to follow me on social media, I'm at Real Kerry Morton on Instagram, on X, and on Facebook at Kerry Morton. So go out there, support me. I have a Pro Wrestling Tee store. It always helps when you grab a T-shirt and support one of your favorite wrestlers. So if you haven't already, go check out my shop over there and grab you a new shirt. And we appreciate you enjoying professional wrestling and listening to a 54-minute conversation with Brian and myself.
Well, thanks so much for being on, Kerry.
I appreciate you, man. I thank you, and I wish you all the luck here at WSE, and I'm looking forward maybe a couple months down the road to coming back again.
Okay, that'd be great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
What's up, everybody? It's the Hollywood hunk, Ryan Nemeth, to thank you for listening to the WSE Lounge. And when you're done with this episode, head over to Vimeo, watch my film, Heal,